Do you want to talk about the class system?
Yeah, this is a lot of people's highlights. A lot of
Definitely.
people say Dragon Quest VII has the best class system of the series, and some have even argued of all video RPGs up to that point. We're going to do a little deep dive into Dragon Quest VII and its classes today. Be sure to subscribe if you like Dragon Quest and if you have some class yourself.
Leave a comment below too. What your final class, what your party was at the end of the game. So I got it pulled up here. The different classes, and I'm using the DragonQuest.org wiki. So check it out if you want to go there to do your own deep dive. It's broken up into 3 different sections. We have beginner, intermediate, advanced. It's important to know that this begins at the All Trades Abbey. So once you've finished the quest line there, you'll be able to start swapping between them. So it's not immediate. You won't see it until later. Probably like 15 to 20 hours into the game. I can't remember the exact hours, but it takes some time to get there. And then you can start doing this. You'll only be able to do the beginners at first. Intermediate comes once you've mastered certain beginner classes, and then the advanced once you learn some of the intermediate classes. We'll break down those for you as well. There are also monster vocations. I'll be honest, I didn't really explore much. I did the Chimera for a little bit and was just pretty uninterested. Do you have anything to say about the monster vocations before we get to the main ones?
Nope. I got a bunch of the hearts, and I like the main classes enough, and I found them useful. I didn't really need like a king heal slime, because I already had sages, and I got a luminary at one point.
Yes. So I'm the same way. I was like, why? Like these, and I'll explain later that you only need the advanced and probably even the intermediate to beat the game. So the monster ones just seemed kind of less fun, and I didn't like that they also changed your appearance to the monster. I found that annoying, so I just didn't want to do those.
Fair enough.
If you wanted to talk about monster vocations, go to the site and check it out. You can play around with it. We're going to be speaking about the human vocations for the rest of it.
Yeah, tell us below too.
Yeah. So the beginner vocations, you got dancer, jester, mage, martial artist, priest, sailor, shepherd, thief, troubadour, and warrior. This is, by the way, the 3DS. I don't think all these were on the original, but I may be wrong
I
on that.
believe there were 5 or 4. In fact, I could even fact check you a little bit here if
Okay.
I find something.
Cool. So yeah, these are your main ones. I highly recommend you start somebody on the warrior path, martial artist path, priest path, mage path. Those are my general go-tos for the beginning to get you just started when you're starting out with your new classes. I think you only have 3.
I can help you out here too, by the way. I
Okay.
have a guide from GameFAQs. It looks like they are the same, just called different things. So it's warrior, fighter, mage, cleric, dancer, bard, jester, mariner, thief, and shepherd.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I guess they're all the same. Nice. Yeah. So how do you usually start your party out? I think at this point it's only 3, right? It's Hero, Ruff, and Maribel.
Right, because Kiefer leaves. I feel like you get a 4th, but maybe that's later. Oh well. Well, I knew I needed strength and healers, so I believe my party was warrior, fighter, and oh no, I went sailor. Because
Wow.
sailor's kind of multi-purpose, and pirate is pretty easy of an intermediate class to get up to. So I liked some of the sailor moves, and yeah, it was pretty useful. So I had sailor, fighter, and whatever the healer is, priest.
Priest. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I did.
How about you?
I think I did warrior, mage, priest. I think.
Okay.
But it would have been something like that. I'm very traditional. when it comes to things.
These classes level up very easily too. As beginner class, a lot of the level up speeds are very fast. I think Sailor was listed as very fast, whereas Warrior was kind of more normal or fast. So that was another reason I went Sailor because I wanted to get an intermediate class as soon as possible.
Yeah, and it works in the same way or a similar way to Dragon Quest Six, where it's based on your character's level battling monsters of a similar difficulty. So you can't go to like a previous island that's got like slimes at this point because you won't actually level up the vocation. You have to be killing monsters and really killing encounters, beating encounters that meet a certain level requirement, and then you get a point towards that vocation, if that makes sense. So it might take for a beginner class like five encounters, successful encounters of a level class that's appropriate for your level to advance to the next level of that class. And you do that 8 times to master it. And that obviously that number increases as you go. So it went 5 and then might take 8, 16, however many. And then the faster ones have less numbers. And then the slower ones have higher numbers. And that's basically how it's determined the speed. Beginners are generally fast. Some of them are very fast. Some of them are fast, but they're usually pretty easy to level up. Some of them are kind of annoying to level up, like the Jester and the Troubadour. It's like
Sure, if you're because you need those for Luminary, which we can come back to, but basically their stats are whack and their skills are no better.
Right. So you're basically when you're leveling those up, you have a useless party member. So what I find is that I tend to level those up later in the game when it's just like it's time to grind. Let's level up the useless ones, which is actually kind of a bad idea, honestly, because it basically backloads your grinding to the end of the game, which is not necessarily efficient. It just sucks when you're going through the main quest and one of your characters is holding you back. I can't. I can't stand it. Being like, let's go fight this boss, and it's like, well, one of our characters isn't really optimal for it. It's just that they'll get experience, which is nice, and that is like an irritant for me of just like sometimes dealing with it, sometimes not wanting to.
I do want to call out one other class I dabbled with, but I didn't really keep, and I think if I did, it would be a more fun experience. Was the Thief class? I think I made my main character a thief, and he was stealing items like seeds of defense and like other like really useful, like even armor and weapons and stuff. Oh. So I kind of want to explore the thief more, but that's a recommendation I have. Thief, Sailor, those are good classes. And then Martial Artist has Knuckle Sandwich, which hits crits for metal slimes. So that is a very useful class to put on all of your party members, no matter what. Because the way that the beginner skills work are that they transfer no matter what. You get all skills you learn from a beginner class to whatever intermediate or advanced class you change to. Not necessarily the case for the advanced classes.
There you go. Yeah. Everybody should have. I think is it Hatchet Man?
Yeah, maybe that's the one.
That's
the warrior one too.
Yeah, it's like a crit. If it hits, it's a crit, and if not, it's a miss. And yeah. Oh my god,
that's the one. That's a high recommendation. And then also the warrior gets a skill that wakes up your party members, Rude Awakening. So that's a nice one to have if you get put to sleep.
Yep. Intermediate. So these you have to have mastered certain ones prior. Let me see on this Monster Masher one. Oh, this is going to be
I think it was Shepherd and Thief or something.
Thief and Shepherd. Yep.
To become a Monster Masher.
You got it. So they all have their own, they're just like improvements on the past. They get some of the older skills and then get their own as well. Armamentalist is a mixture of warrior and mage.
Mage. Yep.
Gladiator is warrior and martial artist.
Right.
Luminary. Oh my god, I have some stories here, but Luminary is Troubadour, Jester, and Dancer, right? I think.
Yes.
We did Monster Master. Paladin is martial artist and priest, or warrior and priest. Which one is that? Let me
I
check.
think it's warrior priest. Maybe it is martial artist priest.
Um, priest and martial artist. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, pirate is the sailor. Is that right?
And something else.
Sailor and thief.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then sage is mage and martial artist. You need a sage.
No, mage
Or
and
mage
priest.
and priest. Sorry. Yeah. Um,
Okay.
you need a sage for sure. So when you're doing this, make sure that somebody gets sage. You'll get multi heal. It's literally like required for
I think
like
Paladin
most
might
of this
get
game.
that. Oh, maybe not. Maybe
Paladin
it's
gets it
Kazing.
too.
But
Paladin gets it too.
I would say Armamentalist is honestly a decent Sage substitute as well. I had Sir Mervyn as an Armamentalist, and he was hitting enemies with crackle, slash, and like all these different slashes that basically were magic attacks. And
Yeah.
the health and armor stats are decent too. So a Sage is kind of weak health wise. So that's an intermediate recommendation.
Yeah. Luminary I would not recommend, although
No,
I'll explain
absolutely not.
its requirement later. But and then make sure you have a gladiator just to have a guy that hits really hard. I didn't really fuck
And the
around.
gladiator's nice too because you can easily make a paladin after making a gladiator just by upgrading one more beginner class, the
Right.
priest.
Right.
And those both combine for an advanced class, which we'll talk about in a sec.
It's really like a two birds kind of thing.
Right.
I did not really fuck around with Monster Master or Pirate. Did you?
I liked both and they hit hard, but the problem is they don't really combine for a meaningful class in the advanced classes. I did like some of the pirate skills. There was one that was like this kind of like wave thing. It hit everyone really hard, but nah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Just unless you're going for like a ballsy playthrough.
Yeah. So when I was playing this, I didn't Google it. I was trying not to Google anything if I could avoid it. But at a certain point in the game, I was like, I know that my hero actually became a hero at some point when I played it last time. So like, what's going on? And that's when I realized that to get the advanced, you had to master certain intermediate classes, and my hero just hadn't happened to do it yet. And I was like, I was kind of pissed because I was towards the end of the game, and none of my characters were advanced. So I took a little extra time because I really wanted to explore the advanced classes as well. We only have 3. We have the champion, the druid, and the hero. Champion, you have to have mastered gladiator,
and paladin.
Yeah. Which is pretty easy to do, especially if you have like a dedicated physical person. It's kind of like a no-brainer. It just kind of happens.
Right.
Druid is sage and luminary vocations, which is an absolute bitch to do. FYI.
Sure. You need how many? You need 5 beginner classes, 2 intermediate classes, and then you have to level up that class itself. So you have to have leveled up 8 individual classes.
Yep. I didn't know that. And then I really wanted the druid at the end, so I did end up getting one, and it was literally like, I can't even tell you how many hours of grinding just getting that druid. And it wasn't even worth it at the end, and I'll explain why. Not because the druid's bad, but I'll explain later. But and then the hero class, which is kind of interesting. It requires just the mastery of 3 intermediate classes or 2 intermediate classes and an advanced class.
Okay, that explains how Ruff got it, because I had Ruff as my hero, which, why is Ruff the hero? Don't know, but he became a gladiator and a paladin, which are 2 you need to become a champion. So if you've gone that route, you can just make your champion a hero, regardless.
Yeah.
That is the most efficient way to get an advanced class.
Yeah, that actually works out pretty well. Actually, Ruff was my hero too. I mean, the hero was also a hero, but Ruff became a hero as well. Because I wanted to make sure that I had 2 people that could heal. And my main character, I mean, granted he can heal, but I wanted him to attack. And then I had Aisha doing as a champion, just hitting, freaking destroying people. And then I want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that Ruff could still heal, so I didn't want to make him a champion. And so I was like, you know what? Just be a hero. Like, why not? I'll have 2 heroes. How badass is that? So there it
And they
was.
wear like a cape too, like they're
Yeah.
royalty or something. It's so cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Seeing him run around on a dog with a cape, like I
That's
don't know, it's
badass.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting turning Maribel into a druid.
Wow.
Dude, I didn't even get her past the first level of druidism. Because I was grinding at the end of the game, and I was like, oh, I remember at the end you can go in, there's like a healing section right before the main boss. So like I'll just go there and heal and then just keep grinding. Well, that section also automatically takes you to the main boss. And by then
Mm.
my hero was a maxed out hero. Ruff was almost a maxed out hero. Aisha was a maxed out champion. Maribel was like literally a level 1 druid that only knew like frizzle and shit. So it was like starting from nothing. And then I was like, well, I'll just fight the boss. I'm here. Like I'll lose and then I'll just repackage. I destroyed the boss. With all the advanced classes, it's not even close. Like the boss just got destroyed. So you don't really even need the advanced classes if you can just get really good at the intermediate ones, but it's the advanced classes make you so overpowered.
Mm-hmm.
It was
My
great.
my class system horror story, I guess, was that I had a few. So I had Maribel like on route to becoming a luminary, and then she leaves your party. So by the
Whoa.
time she came back, she was like still like a level 5 jester. And then like Sir Mervyn, before like the not the halfway point, it's like 2/3 point. He basically gets locked into a party because you can't revisit All Trades Abbey after you've brought all of the fragments back.
Mhm.
So he was stuck as a maxed out priest. So there was no point to any fights for him because he was not upgrading his classes. So I was so
Damn.
annoyed at that.
Yeah, that
So
sucks.
I did have the hero, and I don't even remember my main guy if he was a champion or if I just switched him back to pirate for the end. Sir Mervyn I kept as an armamentalist, and I didn't even know you could get Maribel back in the party, so I had begun Aisha, which is another horror story because when you get Aisha, she's not a class. She's a flat character, and I just assumed she was a warrior because of how she was dressed.
Mhm.
So I was leveling up Aisha with the party, but she wasn't
Oh,
making any progress on classes. You have to switch new party members when you get them to a class. You have to go back to All Trades Abbey and do that,
damn.
which was also another annoying thing because you have to go back to All Trades Abbey every single time. There is no like quick turn feature, which like Dragon Quest IX has.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Good. It's a good system though. I like the system. I wish it was a little clearer to you though. Like I wish it told you things. Um,
Yeah,
because like
and I
I
wish you kept.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'd forgotten about that there were like advanced classes that you could do. So I was perfectly happy keeping Aisha as a gladiator. I was just like la la la, perfectly content. Like, well, she's maxed out gladiator, she's good to go. And then when I discovered the hero thing, I was like, oh fuck. And then there's champion, and there's druid. Oh, I've been wasting a bunch of time. I
There
completely
is a
forgot about
guy
those.
to the left of the altar who tells you the requirements for all of
Oh,
the advanced classes. So if you had talked
damn
to
it.
him, you would have known. But I was constantly referring to him.
Gotcha. Ugh, why didn't I do that? Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Talk to everybody in Dragon Quest. It should be a level 1 understanding. But save yourself some
Good
heartache.
system. I do think though I would have liked if you kept the skills you got from the classes rather than relearning them as advanced classes. Because in advanced classes, you lose the skills that you got from the intermediate ones, but you relearn them as you level up if
Mm-hmm.
it was part of the requirement. Which was cool when you get like 5 skills at once, but I would have liked it to move a little faster.
I would really like to see what a maxed out druid does. I might actually just go back
Mhm.
and grind it up, even though it's like pointless. I guess I could do some of the bonus content, but yeah, I'm curious what the druid does because it, a maxed out mage. That's my deal. That's my jam.
Mhm.
But we'll see. All right. Well, that's the classes.